Hi there everyone, and welcome to this 1500-point battle between the forces of the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor and the Loyal Space Marines of the Ultramarines chapter. Here we have the board set up for this Tempest of War game at 1500 points. The cards that we pulled for today's battle report is Take and Hold for our primary, so 5 victory points for controlling 1, controlling 2, and controlling more objective markers. The mission rule is that you only get your battle forward CP if the warlord is on the table or within a transport. And then pretty standard hammer and anvil deployment on the short edges of the battle mat. The battle mat's from Gamemat.eu, and most of the terrain is from Games Workshop. With the terrain, anything that is 5 inches or taller will be obscurable ruins, so breachable, scalable for our infantry. Back in the upper left-hand corner for where you guys are seeing it, that aquarium decor is going to be a forest. The objective markers are also placed on the board. So in this 2-story or 3-story ruin, we have 1 objective marker in 1 deployment zone, then kind of scattered roughly equally in no man's land. We have 1, 2, and 3 objective markers. And then finally on the other side, in the other deployment, we have our 5th and final marker. So with that, that's the table and the terrain. So now let's start by looking at the forces of the Genestealer cult. Here are the forces of the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor. So we have a battalion detachment. We're going to be starting off with 11 command points, as we did by 1 extra relic before the game started. So we'll go through the battalion, starting off with our HQ slots. We have the Patriarch, who is going to be the army warlord, since he has to be if you include a Patriarch in there. He's going to have mass hypnosis and mind control, as well as a psychic familiar. His warlord trait is going to be preternatural speed, and he's going to be taking the amulet of the Void Worm for 1 of the 2 army relics. We also have a Jackal Elfis, who is rocking our extra relic. She's going to have the Gift from Beyond, so the special sniper rifle. Our Magus as our 3rd HQ character. It's also going to have a Psychic Familiar and have Might from Beyond and Psychic Stimulus. While we're going through the characters, these are the rest of them Elites characters that you can take for free. Or not take for free, take with no Force Org slot for having HQ characters. We have a Kellermorph Sanctus with Sniper Rifle and a Biophagus. I've upgraded the Biophagus to be Alchemist Supreme, so he gets to give out a pre-game buff, and he'll probably be buffing up the unit of Aberrants before we get the game started with their 5-up Feel No Pain. Then going on into the troop slots, we have 1 big 20-man squad of neophytes with a mining laser and seismic cannon, as well as a cult icon to try to recycle and refresh, make sure that this 20-man squad stays alive as long as possible. Then we have 3 5-man acolyte squads that are all loaded up a bit differently. Up here in front, we have a 5-man squad with 2 rock saws. Then behind them, all 5 are equipped with hand flamers, and they have the lying in wait proficient planning. That's the one where they are allowed to show up 3 inches away from enemy models. And then finally for the troops, we have another 5-man squad, this time with a rock drill and rock cutter. Over with the rest of the infantry models, we have a 5-man Aberrant squad with heavy improvised weapon on the Hypermorph. Then a 5-man Jackal squad with a quad with mining laser on it. Then accompanying them in the fast attack slots is a unit of 3 Ridge Runners with the mining lasers and flare launchers to give them that 6-up feel no pain against shooting. And then finally, as another heavy support, we have 1 Goliath Rock Grinder with a mining laser and a cache of demo charges to either throw or use to automatically explode. And then that is going to be 1,500 points on the nose of Genestealer Cults. Now let's take a look at the Loyal Sons of Guilliman. Here we have 1,500 points of the boys in blue, the Ultramarines, with a battalion detachment starting at 11 command points. Going into the characters, our official warlord is going to be a Primaris captain with Power Sword. He's going to be reined in the armor Indomitus for the army relic. And beside him is a Primaris lieutenant, again with Power Sword and Bolt Pistol. Then third, and certainly not finally, is the Primaris Apothecary Secret Warlord, who has had 1 CP sent for Chapter Command to make him the Chief Apothecary, and he's taken Selfless Healer to start reviving Ultramarine models for free every turn. So he's going to be probably hanging out with the heavy hitters, making sure that they stay up. Then quickly going through the troops, pretty straightforward. 2 5-man squads of intercessors, nothing special, and 1 5-man squad of infiltrators. Then, kind of in no particular order, we have a 3-man eradicator squad with the melter rifles, 3-man blade guard veteran squad, 3-man aggressor squad with bolt storm and the frag launchers. Get into the heavy armor, we have a 1 Invader ATV with the Onslaught Gatling Cannon, and some more anti-tank or anti-monster with a Gladiator. I believe this is the Reaper variant, although I know that the 3 different names are for 3 different slightly variations, so I think this is the Reaper with the twin Laz and the Meltas on the sponsons. Even if I'm getting the name wrong, what you see is what you get for all the models that I bring. Try to keep it WYSIWYG. And then in dedicated transport, we have 2 impulsors. One's going to be loaded out with the Stubber and Shield Dome, as you can see. And the other is just going to be bare bones for points. Both of them are going to have the Frag Storm grenade launchers. And that's going to be it for the forces of the Imperium in this battle. Now we're going to go and get the army set up and come back to you for roll-off for first turn after deployment. Here we are deployed with both armies on the table, or rather 1 army on the table and 1 army mostly hiding underneath blips. We'll start with the Ultramarines. Over on this flank, we have the ATV ready to ride out and get this objective marker. Then the Eradicators and Lieutenant are going to be sat down on home objective duty. We have 1 Impulsor, this one with the Shield Dome, 5 Intercessors in this one, and then the one with no Shield Dome or Extra Gun over there with 5 Intercessors. In the center is kind of our Death Star unit with the Blade Guard, Aggressors, Captain, and Chief Apothecary, ready to heal them up. Then the Gladiator, ready to get its anti-tank guns in range. And then infiltrating just a little bit is the 5-man Infiltrator squad to hop on one of the 2 No Man Land objective markers closer to the Ultramarine deployment zone. Then going to the cult, we have the Jackals on this far edge of the battlefield, ready to use their scout move. Home objective markers got 1, 2, 3, 4 blips on the field nearby, one blip hiding on the other side of the building next to the Ridge Runners, and then finally 2 blips over here, kind of leaving this far side where I have all the dice a little bit empty for the moment. So with that, that is the pre-game deployment all set. So now we will roll off for first turn. We'll do it winner has to take first turn. Blue die will be the Ultramarines, red die will be the Cult. And that means it will be Cult turn 1 when we return. Turn 1 for the Genestealer Cult, and they have moved out in force. And we are at the end of the movement phase. So our orders were to secure no man's land and claim supremacy on the battlefield, as well as no retreat, no surrender. So a very good draw for the first turn. So revealing all of the blip markers, we have the Jackal Elphus Biophagus 20-man Neophyte Squad and the Sanctus all in this big building in the back. The Jackal Elphus has put her buff onto the Neophytes, so giving exposed for when they go to shoot at this Impulsor. The Jackals have moved on up to try to start at least penning in or maybe remove the ATV from this flank. The Rock Grinder carrying the Acolyte Squad with the 2 Rock Saws in it has moved up, kind of in no man's land right now, but moving up the table. The Magus is following along the Aberrants, who got the pre-game 5-up Feel No Pain from the Biophagus. And the Biophagus is doing his action to give something to the Neophytes. Hoping for a good roll of 5 or 6 for another 5-up Feel No Pain. Totally forgetting their name, blanking on the name. These Ridge Runners, there they are, have moved on up. The third and final one has just barely remained in range of that objective marker for no retreat, no surrender. They did start their movement on it, but they are hoping to take out some of the heavy anti-vehicle firepower and maybe start chipping away at the infiltrators. So that takes us through the command phase, the movement phase, so we will go on to the psychic phase next. And just FYI, everything else for the Genestealer Cult is starting underground, including the Patriarch. So we did not go up a CP, so we're only starting on 11. Luckily, though, we did not need to use one to replace any of the cards that we drew. Very quick psychic phase. We have Psychic Stimulus and Might from Beyond for the Magus. So they do not have any charges, even if they could advance in charge, so no use doing Psychic Stimulus. And Might from Beyond also isn't going to do anything since we are not in melee threat range, so we're just going to do a quick smite into the Infiltrators, getting it on a 7. So that'll be a 1 mortal wound on the Infiltrators, and then that'll do it for Psychic. So now we go on to shooting. We're going to start off the shooting phase with the Ridge Runners. All of their mining lasers are going to be going into the Gladiator at the back, and then all of their stubbers into the Infiltrators right up here. So this will be number of shots for the mining lasers, so 3d3 in total. That's going to be 3, 4, 6 in total. So 5 and 6. Then on 4s, that'll get 2 hits and a crossfire marker placed onto the Gladiator. Then strength 9, so on 3s, that'll be 2 wounds into the Gladiator. Now we're looking at 2 6-up saves for the Gladiator Valiant. That's the name of this type of Gladiator. The Reaper, which is I think what I said was the one with the Onslaught. But anyway, it has 2 6-up saves. Both of those are going to go through. And I think a 6-up save is not something the Ultramarines would need to re-roll. So I'm going to do 2d6 damage. We'll roll one at a time. So we'll start with 2. And that is going to be our CP reroll for the shooting phase. So that'll take the cult down to 10. That'll be 4, and then 6. So a total of 10 damage going through to the Gladiator. Heavy Stubbers from the Ridge Runners into the Infiltrators on 4s. Not a great spread of hits. Oof, look at all those 3s. Maybe should have fired something else into them first, but I don't think there's anything that could see them where they are. So Heavy Stubbers into Marines is going to be on 4s. And 3 wounds, no AP, so 3 ups. 6, 2, and a 4. That'll be 1 more wound. That'll take 1 of them off of the point. And that'll do it for the Ridge Runners. So next step will be the Rock Grinder. Rock Grinder is going to fire its heavy mining laser into this impulsor that's been exposed to the neophytes, and then the Heavy Stubber is going to go into the Blade Guard up here. So we'll start with the number of shots for the mining laser. 3 shots, hitting on 4s. That'll be 2 hits, and then a crossfire marker after this. That's important because I wanted to make sure that the neophytes were also crossfired and exposed to get the full benefits of shooting into it. Then this will be strength 9, so on 3s. That'll be a hit and a miss. I already used the reroll. This will be at a -3. So this will be a 6-up. Not gonna do it. That'll be d6 damage going into the impulsor for a total of 4 damage. So 4 damage going there. And then quickly the Heavy Stubber into the Blade Guard. Hits once. And wounds once. No AP. And on a 2, that will be 1 going through to a Blade Guard. And then we'll move on to the Jackals next. Everything from the Jackals is going to go into the ATV. And we'll start with the mining laser on a 4. Then this will be, let's see, mining laser strength 9 versus toughness 5. So on a 3, that'll be 1 wound at -3. Goes to -2. I should have been applying for all of this from Armor of Contempt, but c'est la vie. So that'll be a 5-up for the ATV. And even with remembering that, that is not going to do it. So d6 damage from the mining laser. And 4 damage. That'll take half of its wounds off. Then we'll do all of the small arms fire from the Jackals. Nothing else went through from the Jackals into the ATV. So now all that's left for shooting, or not all that's left for shooting, but the next big squad is going to be the Neophytes. And unfortunately, only the big weapons are going to be in range. So the mining laser and seismic cannon are both going to go into the impulsor. So we'll start with the mining laser. So this will be on a 3 since it has been crossfired. And a 1, unfortunately, will not do it. Then we'll do the long wave of the short wave of the seismic cannon. So 3 on 3s. Miss once, hit twice. Strength 6. Will wound once and fail to wound once. So AP -2 going down to AP -1. Will be a 3, and that will be a fail. And because the impulsor is exposed to this attack, the +1 to wound does come into effect. That 2 would have been a wound. And that is another wound that has gone through, since it still has 1 AP. That's going to be a total of 4 more damage on the impulsor, bringing it down to 3 wounds remaining. All of their other guns, the auto guns, are not in range of anything, so now we just go on to the sniper characters. We're going to start with the Jackal Elphys with the Gift from Beyond, and we are going to set our sights and try to take out the Primaris Apothecary before he can start healing up and reviving Ultramarines for free. So this will be on a 2-up. And on a 6. So now we're looking for Strength 5, Toughness 4, so on a 3. And then a 4-up also inflicts 1 mortal wound. So on a 3, there you go. So that'll be a wound at AP -3 and 1 mortal wound. So AP -3 goes to AP -2. So this will be a 5-up save for the Apothecary. And that is not going to do it, but I think the Ultramarines definitely want to keep him alive. So we will spend a command point here, hoping for a 5-up, and not getting it. So that's going to be a total of 4 wounds taken off the Apothecary from this sniper. Now we move on to the Sanctus, and it looks like it is going to be good night for the Primaris Apothecary, as the Sanctus' Soul Sight gives it the model makes an attack, the attack automatically hits, and no cover. So we're going to have a sniper rifle that automatically hits. He's counting as being exposed. So we're looking for a 2 to wound, and then a 4-up gives 1 mortal wound in addition. So that'll be 1 mortal wound, and that will take the Apothecary out of the fight. Moving on to the charge phase, we are going to move on and get the Jackals into the ATV in close combat. So the Ultramarines will spend a CP, bringing them down to 9 to fire Overwatch, since we got some pretty good anti-horde guns, and if they get through, we should be able to get at least 1 of the Jackals off the board in return for taking the Apothecary out. 2 wounds went through on Overwatch, so that did take 1 of the bikers off the table, and now we go on to the charge phase with a 6, and that will definitely get it in. And even if we move up and off this objective marker, we do not fail No Retreat, No Surrender, because the bikers do not start their move action in range of the objective. They just ended it. So we are all good to pile in and attack into the ATV now. Hitting on 4s in melee with the Outriders, or not Outriders, the Jackals, and that's only going to be 4 hits. Strength 3, Toughness of 5, so needing 5s to wound. Getting 2 at no AP, so 3 ups. Make 1 fail 1, so that will take another wound off of the ATV, and then he will go and swing back real quick with 4 5 attacks, since he was charged on 3s. Full house of hits. And strength 4, toughness 4, so 4s. Ooh, jeepers. And then 4 wounds, no AP. So we're going to have a 4-up save for a total of 2 more going through. So that's going to be another one of the jackals taken out. At the end of the turn, 2 out of our 3 cards are going to be Sword, Battlefield Supremacy, and Secure No Man's Land. And as long as I do not fail a morale test during the Ultramarines turn 1, we will be all set with No Retreat, No Surrender. So that's going to be 10 points right away, as we did good damage to the vehicles. We got rid of the Apothecary, so that's probably another 100 points of Ultramarines just in terms of combat revivals that we got rid of. Now we go on to Ultramarines turn 1. Turn 1 for the Ultramarines, and it does not look like the cards for Tempest are going to be as nice to them as they were for the Cult. So after spending a CP to ditch behind enemy lines, we end with Raise Banner, Storm Hostile Objective, and Tempting Target. Tempting Target is going to be that one back there for the Ultramarines near the Magus and the 5 Aberrant squad. The banner should be fine to do for the Infiltrators since they're on a No Man's Land objective already. But other than that, it might be a bit of an uphill battle to get models removed and get points on the board. But we'll see what the Sons of Guilliman can do as we go on to the movement phase. Here we are at the end of movement phase. The ATV fell out of combat, and these intercessors got out of their impulsor before it moved up here, kind of acting as a little bit of a move block and a bump in the road in this kind of choke point. The Death Ball, now without the Apothecary, moves on up to the Ridge Runners. The second Impulsor without the Shield Dome and extra gun has just moved up. It still has its troops inside. Gladiator moved over here, while the Eradicators and the Lieutenant have stayed still. So now we are going to go on to the shooting phase with no psychic. We're going to start over here with the 5 intercessors who got out of the impulsor, trying to mop up this squad of jackals. 10 shots from the intercessors into the jackals on 3s. And then on 4s. 4 at AP -1, so 6-up saves. Make 1, fail 3. So that'll be 1 bike removed, and then one of them down to 1 wound. And we will do the ATV, all of its shots, at -1 to hit into the jackals over here. After the ATV was all said and done with its shots, we just have the Jackal Leader on 1 wound remaining. So probably a pretty quick cleanup in a charge, but other than that, we will now go on to the rest of the shooting phase. We're going to start with the Eradicators going into the Rock Grinder here. The Eradicators are going to declare total obliteration to double fire into the Rock Grinder. So there's going to be a total of 6 Melter Rifle shots hitting on 3s. And 3 hits, 3 misses. Let's see, is there anywhere else that we would need a good reroll? Gladiator's probably not going to be doing much, so it might be a little bit wonky. So we'll try to use a reroll here on something that's more likely to hit. That'll get another success and bring us down to 8 CP for the Ultramarines. And now Strength 8, rerolling 1s from the Lieutenant. 2 rerolls from the Lieutenant. Good, good. And then looks like the Lieutenant just does not want to do his job there. So it'll be at -4 AP. and that'll definitely not do it. That'll be 2d6 wounds going through. So with the rugged construction, it'll be 2d6 minus 1, so it'll be 5 and 1. So a total of 6 wounds going through on to the Rock Grinder, bringing it down to 4. With that, the Gladiator, even though he's only on 2 wounds, he will still try to do his job and take out some armor. So everything from the Gladiator will go into the Rock Grinder now. We're going to start with the twin las cannon, so 4 shots on 5s. Alright, hitting once, strength 9, toughness 7, so on a 3. That'll be 1 at AP minus 3. So a 6-up save. Almost, but not quite. And that'll be D6 minus 1 damage, so hoping for big numbers. That'll be 4 down to 3. That'll take it down to 1 wound remaining for the truck. And now the multi-meltas. So 2 multi-meltas. So again, 4 shots on 5s. Getting 1. And strength 8, toughness 7, so needing a 3. Gets it, AP minus 4. Will go right through. It's 3-up save. And with only 1 wound left, even with that, 2 damage going through, that'll take the Rock Grinder down. And then we will see, does it blow up? Something might be in range. It does not do any of the acolytes inside die as they get out. 2 of them do. So good use of the Gladiator. That just shows why I wanted to make sure that the Genestealer Occult could neuter it as much as they could. But still enough between it and the Eradicators to take the Rock Grinder out of the fight. The Wounded Impulsor is going to go into the 3 remaining Acolytes now. Going to start with the Iron Hail Heavy Stubber. And 3 wounds remaining means it's on 4s. So that'll be 2 wounds. Strength 4, toughness 4. So on 4s. Nothing there. And then the 2 Frag Storm Grenade Launchers are D6 each. For a total of 6 shots. On 4s. Only getting 1 hit. On a 4. And a 3 will not do it. So that is going to be a whiff from the Impulsor right over here. And then we will go on over to the Aggressors and this blob with small arms fire next. Rest of the shooting phase was done off camera between the shots from the Aggressors and the Blade Guard. We took 3 wounds off the lead Ridge Runner. Impulsor also fired into the Ridge Runners but didn't do anything. Captain fired his bolt rifle and was able to take out another one of these Acolytes. And then that'll do it for the shooting phase. So now we're going to go on to the charge phase. We're going to start with these Intercessors going into the Lone Biker. No Overwatch from the 1. So 4 inches. Not a great charge, but we'll get them in. And then finally, this Death Ball unit is going to try to go in. So we will start with Blade Guard into the Ridge Runners, and we will Overwatch there. Overwatch was done by the Ridge Runners and took out one of the Blade Guard, getting 2 6s or 2 3 shots on the D3 shots from the heavy mining lasers. But the heavy stubbers bounced off of their shields, so we will go on to the charge, measuring it out. 4, need a 4, but with the flare launchers that they are equipped with, they're going to need a 6. So I need to show 6 on 2d6, hoping for high numbers so we can get the rest of the blob in. And with a 3, that's going to have to be a reroll, bringing the Ultramarines down to 7. And with a double 1, the Blade Guard are not going to make it into combat. That being said, we have soaked up the Overwatch at least, so we will try with the Captain and with the Aggressors still. So we'll start with the Captain, getting a 5 down to a 3, so he's not going to go in. And now the Aggressors, a 6 probably won't do it, but we will measure it and check. Unfortunately, looks like the Aggressors needed a 5 to get in, or rather a 7 on the dice to get in. They were 5 inches away, plus the 2 needed to overcome the flare launchers. So looks like the Ridge Runners are going to get another turn of being unbothered by melee. So that means that the only combat here is the 5 Intercessors into the 1 Jackal. So it's a total of 16 attacks. Hitting on 3s, taking out our 1s and 2s. And then Strength 4, Toughness 4, so on 4s. No AP, since these are just fists and it's not melee doctrine. So we're going to have the 4-up saves. And failing exactly 1. Let's see. That could be enough. It could be interesting enough to get them to do that. We will use a CP, so that'll bring us down to 8 for the cult. So 50-50 shot of locking the Intercessors in combat. And looks like combat is not going to be in favor of the Ultramarines, as we have 1 Jackal left. And we'll do their attacks real quick, and then score it up for the Ultramarines. Turn 1 for the Ultramarines is going to end with 5 points raised, or gained from Raise the Banner. We're still going to have Storm Hostile objective, because I feel like that is something that the Ultramarines would be able to do at some point, just not this turn. We also did throw away a tempting target, because we're not going to be looking at the Aberrant's objective for a little bit. The cult also went up to 15 because they did not fail the morale on the 3 Acolyte squad, so they are all set there. So with that, looks like it is time for the cult to go on turn 2. And this is where the Genestealer cults really come into their own with rerollable charges from Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor and all the rest of the units coming in from underground. Turn 2 for the Genestealer cult, and another good round of cards. No prisoners, totally doable, just kill. Bring it down, goes along with that very, very well. And Raise Banner, we can most certainly do with the Biophagus, since he is infantry, so he'll sit back and raise a banner, while everybody else goes on shooting and coming up into melee from Deep Strike. I did go ahead and roll for the Biophagus's ability that he gave to the Neophytes. Nothing big, that's the first one on his page. So, +1 AP in melee, so not really the most useful. Was hoping for a 5 or a 6, but maybe that'll be interesting should it come to any of them getting charged by the Ultramarines. But other than that, we're going to go through the command and then psychic phase, or movement phase, and then bring it back at the start of the psychic phase. We're in the middle of setting up from ambush, and 2 CP have been spent from the Ultramarines on Auspex scans to take out the Hand Flamer squad of Acolytes. before they can wipe the intercessors on this front. So firing as if it were the shooting phase. So 3s to hit and 3s to wound, or 3s to kill since they are -2 AP. That's going to be the squad wiped, just barely though. So 2 CP will take the Hand Flamer squad out. So that'll be good for survivability, but that does take us down to 5 in total for the Space Marines. Never mind me, I guess I'm trying to cheat even when I'm just playing myself. The Acolytes are T4 and it was Strength 4, so that's 2 dead, not the whole 5 dead. I was thinking of T3 for whatever reason on the Acolytes. So 2 of them still dead, so that's going to be 2d6 less flamer shots into the backs of the intercessors, so that's not nothing, but definitely still not the most, or not the greatest choice between letting them live or 2 CP. We'll go through the rest of the redeployments, then go on to Psychic. At the end of movement phase, here's how we're looking. The Jackal Elfis has moved on up, kind of in no man's land at this point, while the lone Jackal over here has retreated to be on this objective. The 2 Acolytes from the squad that were in the Rock Grinder have moved on up, hoping to take out or help take out the Impulsor. Hand Flamer squad was taken out a bit by the Overwatch, or not Overwatch, by the Auspex scan. Drill and Rock Cutter squad over in this corner, while the Kellermorph and Patriarch are looking to close the distance on the back objective. It's a conga line for the Ridge Runners. They were able to just barely squeak by. They're just outside of an inch on both sides here. They're sneaking their way through. And the Aberrants and Magus have both advanced up, hoping to meet melee with melee. The Jackal Elfis has also marked the aggressors with her Overwatch mark, or making them exposed for the neophytes, since they started the command phase close to her. So now we will go on to the Psychic phase. So we're going to start over here with the Magus with Psychic Stimulus, making it so that the Aberrants can charge even though they advance. So on a 6, 7 gets it. So Psychic Stimulus from them. And then I believe he will do 2 power. He can do 2 power, so we'll do Might from Beyond. Needing a 6, getting a 9. So they will get that. And if you can only do 1 power, I will take away Might from Beyond. But solo hammer, I can only do so many things at once. Then we'll go on to the Psychic of the Patriarch. So he's got Mind Control and Mass Hypnosis. And we will go and attempt Mass Hypnosis, so needing a 7 with double 1s. We're going to use our Psychic Familiar for that one. Use our free reroll with a 3 and a 5, getting it on an 8. So we will go to Mass Hypnosis for the Lieutenant. And then finally, we will take a Smite and getting it with a 9. So the closest enemy model is actually the Gladiator. So on anything but a 1 or a 2, that will take the Gladiator out and get us a good chunk of no prisoners and our Bring It Down. So looking for anything above a 2. And a 5, that'll be 3 mortal wounds. We will try to do Armor of Contempt from the Space Marine book, however, see if we can try and get more shots needed for this. So this will be a Feel No Pain for the Gladiator, so 5 ups. Make 1, fail 1. So 1 more, so 5 up. Gladiator is still here, or else it is gone. All right. So 2 5-up maids, so only 1 of those mortals is going to go through. That makes it needed to get some more shots into that. But now we go on to the shooting phase for the cult. We're going to start with the Calormorph in the back. He is going to fire everything that he's got into the lieutenant. So needing choose to hit, and each of these that hits will get an additional chance to hit again. So that's 6 hits, generating 6 more chances to hit. And getting a total of 5 more, so 6 shots, 11 hits. So this will be Strength 5 into the Lieutenant's Toughness 4. So 3s to wound, and any 6s are a mortal wound in addition. That's going to be 1 mortal, and then take out the 1s and 2s. Total of 6 at -1 AP, goes to -none. So 3-up saves, takes a total of 2 damage onto the lieutenant. 3d6 hand flamer shots from the acolytes into the intercessors now, for a total of 8. So 5 more, and then this will be strength 3, so 5 to wound. Whew, alright, bad number of shots, but great wounds. 3-up saves, whoop, dropped 1. For a total of 2 going through. So that'll be 1 intercessor gone and another still up. Moving on to this flank, we're going to go with the Ridge Runners next. They are going to take a little bit of split fire, all of their stubbers, and 1 of the mining lasers is going to go into the aggressors, and then 2 of the mining lasers are going to go into the Gladiator Valiant. Mostly just to get crossfire and make sure that when the neophytes go to shoot, they can get the full benefit to try to take 1 or 2 of the aggressors off the table. But we'll do the number of shots for the mining lasers into the Gladiator. So a total of 2 shots. On 4s. 1 hit, 1 wound. Or 1 wound, yep. And that will not be a wound, unfortunately, but we really do need this Gladiator dead. So we will take a reroll there. That's going to be 1 out of 5-up save for the Gladiator. And a 1 will, unfortunately, probably have to do it. So that'll take the cult down to 7 CP and remove the Gladiator. Does it blow up? On 5, it does not. That is bring it down, and a good tally for no prisoners. And now the Ridge Runner shooting into the aggressors. Number of shots. 3 shots on 4s. Alright, we got 1 hit, which is mainly what I was looking for to get them to be cross-fired for the neophytes now. And 1 will definitely take a wound. That's going to be down to AP -2 on an aggressor. And a 3-up will not make it for an aggressor. And we won't. Yes, we will not take a reroll there, so that'll just be d6 damage. 1 damage onto the aggressors. Just thinking, do I want to take a reroll for the cult? I do not, so we will let that slide, so 1 wound on to an aggressor, and now I will do all of the stubber shots into them as well. With all of that, we got 1 of the aggressors down to 1 wound left, so now we're going to go into the neophytes, spending 1 CP for masked firearms, so everything that we have and everything that can see and reach is going to go into the aggressors. So we'll roll all of the neophyte shots off camera, since it is a lot, then get back to you with the results. But before we get into shooting, the Ultramarines here are going to use transhuman physiology to try to get the aggressors to be a little bit more survivable. They'll take the Space Marines down to 3. With that, and with Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor, I will, in return, use a plan generations in the making to make any further uses of transhuman physiology cost 1 more CP, trying to make sure that in future turns, since we are still only on turn 2, I can continue to kill the Primaris freely. That will cost at least 2 CP in the future for the Ultramarines. And with that, I'll go back and continue rolling through the damage for the cult as we go into and try and get the aggressors off the table. Now, the Jackal Alphys is going to take the gift from beyond and shoot into the Primaris captain right over here. So on a 2, that is not the right kind of die. So on a 2, that will be a hit. And then strength 5, toughness 4, so on a 3 up. And on a 6, that'll make a wound and inflict 1 mortal. That'll take it down to AP minus 2. So need a 5 up save for the captain. That will not do it. So that's going to be a total of 4 damage going through to the Primaris captain. And then with the rest of the shooting phase, we just have the Sanctus. I'll check his line of sight, see what we can see, and then get back to you with the final shot from his sniper rifle. Weirdly enough, the sniper isn't actually going to go into a character. It's going to actually go into this impulsor. I can't see either of the characters, and I don't want to risk killing one of the Eradicators and pulling this squad out of their 8-inch rollable charge, make it a little bit more difficult. So we will just go into the Cult Sniper Rifle. So this needs a 5 up to wound, or 4 up because it counts as being exposed. So this will be a 4 up to wound, and a 4 up will also inflict 1 mortal. And that will unfortunately not do it, but oh well. It's a long shot anyway. Long shot, sniper, get it. Now we will go into the charge phase. The aberrants right over here are going to charge into the Blade Guard. And with a 4... that might just do it, so I'll double check if that's it. If that is not a successful charge, Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor does give me reroll charge, so here's the reroll in case I need it. And another 4. So they will be in if 4 is good enough. If not, oh well. These two I did roll off camera for, so they just got, I think they got a 7, which was more than enough. Back with one of the more important charges, we'll do the Patriarch into the Lieutenant. On a 9, he will definitely get in. The Kellermorph doesn't really need to go into melee, but there's no reason not to. No, he will not go into melee. The squad of Acolytes will charge into just the Eradicators here. Needing an 8, a 2, and a 2 for 4, so that will be a reroll, and a 7. It looks like they're not going to be able to do it. These Hand Flamers had lying in wait, so they cannot charge. The Jackal over here fell back, so he will not charge, or he could charge, I suppose, but not much sense in doing so, as that would just take us off one of the 2 objectives that we currently hold. So I will check whether the aberrants get in, and then we will go on to the fight phase. So, unfortunately, the aberrants did not make it in. I think they needed a 6 to get into melee, so 4 is not going to do it, unfortunately. However, we will at least be able to shred through the lieutenant pretty easily with the patriarch. With preternatural speed, he fights first. So, choose re-rolling because of preternatural speed. And that's going to be 5. At strength 5, toughness 4, rerollable. So 3s rerolling. I'm missing all of them, so I need to reroll everything. Alright, and then that's going to be 3 at -3. Goes to -2. So needing 5 ups for the lieutenant. Failing them all, so that's going to be a total of 6 damage. And even if I rerolled 1 and made it, that would be still 4 damage and take the lieutenant out. So that will be lieutenant gone. And then the patriarch piling in closer to the eradicators. Then for the rest of the fight phase, it looks like it is just these 2 lonely acolytes going into the impulsor. So we'll do their attacks and then see if the impulsor runs them down in return. And the 1 Roxaw was actually enough to take the impulsor out. It was not enough to explode it, however. So they have simply piled in a little bit closer to the blade guard and the captain. And with that, that takes us through turn 2 for the cult. Let's see what we score. It was a clean sweep of the secondaries for the cultists, so that will take them up to 40 points. So it is now 40 in favor of the cult to 5 for the Ultramarines, but we will see how they can fare in their turn 2. At the start of turn 2 for the Ultramarines, we go up to 15 points for holding 2 objectives, and the secondaries looks like they have turned a little bit. So Assassination, we still have Storm, Hostile Objective, and Overwhelming Firepower. So kill stuff in shooting, and hopefully a character. So all 3 of these should be something feasible to do as we go into the turn for the Ultramarines. So the concentration of cult assets in this back corner is pretty worrying, but we should still be able to get a pretty good chunk of everything gone at the end of our shooting phase, especially with a couple of small units like this 1 biker or these 2 acolytes just hanging out in the open, and it being tactical doctrine with Ultramarines. So with that, we will go on through the movement phase and on to shooting. Alright, we are lining up as many kills in the shooting phase as we possibly can with the Ultramarines. We've moved back with the ATV to take care of the Handflamer squad, while the 4-man Intercessor squad will be taking out this last remaining biker. Then over here, the remaining Impulsor moved on up and deposited his cargo on this objective in No Man's Land, hoping to line up a kill and a character kill in the shooting phase. I did not end up actually moving the Blade Guard and the Captain. So we will remedy that situation real quick. So they will move up here, while the infiltrators are still on their objective, just keeping an eye on everything and keeping it held down to soon lend their firepower. So now we will go on to the shooting phase for the Ultramarines, where we will probably spend most of our firepower this turn. In the start of the shooting phase, we just took care of some pretty obvious shooting choices that were pretty quick and easy. This Intercessor squad took out the remaining bike. The 2 Acolytes that were there were taken out by the Infiltrators, and the 3 Hand Flamers were taken out by the ATV. So that's not only going to be 3 kills, it's 3 kills in shooting. So very good timing for the draw for overwhelming firepower. So those 3 units are taken out. Now we go on to a little bit more interesting shooting, and we're going to start with the Eradicators. And the Eradicators are actually going to try and save their own lives, and they will declare total obliteration into the Patriarch. So they will be double firing into the big Nid Daddy. Eradicators into Patriarch, hitting on 3s. Toughness 5, strength 8, so wounding on 3s. So that'll be 2 wounds. We really need this to go through, so we will spend a CP to reroll this into a 1. I'll take the Ultramarines down to only 3 CP, but 2 of them do go through at -5 for it being the Tactical Doctrine, but he has a 4-up save. So 4-up invulnerable save, and I'm going to use the Amulet of Voidworm for my once per game, make one of those a 6. Then 4-up on the other one. That will not do it, but we will, again, kind of use a CP reroll off stratagem. So use CP, bring us down 5 for the cult to get a 5 on the invuln. That will mean the Patriarch is still alive and probably is going to tear through the Eradicators on the next charge. Next up, we're going to go into these Intercessors. They are going to be rapid firing and trying to take out the Magus, still needing to get Assassination. So we're looking for 3s. And Strength 4, Toughness 3, so 3s. Again, that's going to be a total of 6 at a combined -2 AP. And no armor save for that. And the aberrants are... We have a think about whether I will use Unquestioning Loyalty from the aberrants or just let them go. So I ended up just taking it on the chin with the Magus. He would have needed to pass at least 3 of them off anyway, and at this point the aberrants are a bit more important than a lone Psyker, even though it will be giving up the 5 secondary points. The wording also says you do it after you fail a saving throw, and since the Magus didn't get a saving throw, as it's worded, technically I wouldn't be able to do it anyway. I'm sure that's not the intent. I'm sure I would still be able to do it from an FAQ or an errata on that anyway. But that is Assassinate. That is the final card for the secondaries done for this turn in the Ultramarine shooting phase. But we're still not done with the shooting phase. I did do the Captain and the pistols from the Blade Guard. They didn't do anything. And my last piece of shooting is this Impulsor. I'm just going to fire his Frag Storm into the neophytes in the building. See if I can start chipping them away and also get the full benefit of Blast. Well, never mind. That is definitely outside of 18 inches. So I think the Frag Storm will just go into the Aberrants for a total of 6 shots. Maybe try to chip one of these down before I get into melee with it. So wounding on 5s, nothing there, so that will not do it. At the end of my shooting phase, however, I am going to choose to spend 2 CP on the rapid fire stratagem. Don't think it's actually called rapid fire, but the one where you are allowed to shoot twice with your intercessors. Nope, look at that. It is rapid fire. Right there, so my phone can focus on it. So the 5-man intercessors right over here are going to shoot again, and they're going to go right into the aberrants. 10 shots into the aberrants. Only missing once. Pretty good spread of hits. Would appreciate that again to wound. Needing 5s. Alright, so 4 at AP -2 into the aberrants. As you listen to me flip through the pages. Let's see, 5 up. There you go. Yep, so no armor save, but 5 up to ignore the damage. So they'll ignore 1, so they will take a total of 3 damage. And that will take one of the aberrants out. So 2 CP for a boosted up aberrant. Probably a little bit of a high price, but still going to help try and whittle them down between the captain and the blade guard. The charge is sounded. We will start with the blade guard going into the aberrants on an 11. I was hoping for a long charge to make way for El Capitan. And now the captain on a 6 gets in as well. And with that, hopefully we have everybody in melee there that we need. I don't think there's anywhere else that we're going to charge. I'll take a look though and come back. We're going to start off the fights from the Ultramarines with the 2 remaining Blade Guard for 9 attacks on the charge into the aberrants. Re-rolling our 1s from being in range of the captain. That's only going to be 1 miss, so 8 hits. And wounding on 3s. Alright, could have used a little bit more wounds there, but a total of 4 going through at AP -3 will go straight through their 5 up armor save. 2 damage a time, however, goes down to 1. That's going to be 1 taken down and 1 on 2 wounds remaining. So we'll just pick him up. And then with 5 CP left from the Gene Silicate, we're going to use 2 of that, going down to 3 to interrupt and see if we can take the captain out with the remaining aberrants. So 9 attacks going from the aberrants into the captain on 3s. And then wounding on 2s. And I am going to be activating the Armor Indomitus. Technically it's only going to be bringing me from a 4 to a 3, but that will give me hopefully enough to take the rest of this on the chin, because otherwise they're 3 damage a time. So now we are going to be going on to 3 up invuln from the Armor Indomitus. And with 3 failed, even if I wanted to reroll that, that would be 6 damage a time. So that will unfortunately be the captain. And that will also mean that there is no more CP regen, or no free CP each battle round for the Ultramarines due to the mission-specific rule. So that'll do it for the fight phase. So that'll take us through the rest of the turn for the Ultramarines. So losing the captain right there was a big blow, but they were able to get on 30 points in total and remove some annoying assets of the cult. So we will go on to turn 3 for the cult now. Here we are at the start of the psychic phase, so we've moved up to engage with just about everybody. Alphys has moved on over here, and we're going to try to see if we can clear off this objective of the intercessors. So they have been given the marker from the Alphys to get the still fresh 20-man squad of neophytes to take them out. Aberrants are still in melee. Ridge Runners have not moved. Acolytes have moved up to take the ATV out. Patriarch's going to take out the Eradicators, or try at least. And then finally, the Calormorph is going to be the one deploying Teleport Homer, now that he's helped and is in the backfield. So, for the psychic phase, we don't have much that we really are going to be relying on. So we're just mostly looking for a good smite from the Patriarch. So needing a 5, the 2 and a 1 will not do it. So this is going to take us down to 2 CP remaining. Just need a successful smite. For an 8, that'll do it. 3 mortals into the Eradicators for the big 3. They'll take a good chunk of their wounds out. Now we go on to shooting. Now we're going to do the snipers to start setting up some crossfire markers. So we will start with the Jackal Alphys, firing the gift from beyond into the intercessors right in front of her. So that'll be 1 shot on a 2 as I flip the page. And on a 1, let's see. We are only down to 2 CP right now. And yes, I think at this point we do want to re-roll that. So that'll take us down to 1 CP. And that'll still be a miss for the sniper rifle from her. So that'll take us down to 1. Then the Sanctus is going to fire his shot into the Impulsor. That'll automatically be a hit. And on a 3 will not be a wound, but importantly that will be a hit with a multi-damage weapon, so that will be a crossfire marker onto the Impulsor. We're going to go into the Neophyte, so we're going to do massed firearms first. So all of their shots are going to go into that 5-man Intercessor squad with their backs turned to them. So 6s are automatically going to wound. We'll start with the autoguns and all of their shots, and I don't think I see a single 6 in here. I do not see a single hit in here. Wow. So, no automatic wounds, but we will be looking at 5s to wound. So, getting a total of 2. Getting a total of 3, since they are exposed. But that's not going to do anything there. And now we will do the mining laser. Will be a hit, and on a 2 will be a wound. At -3 goes to -2, so 5 up. Alright, then anything but a 1 to kill. That'll take one of them off the field. Now the mining laser. And on 3s, or on 2s, since they are exposed. And then not mining laser. The seismic cannon definitely has at least AP -2, so that'll be 2 wounds from the 3-shot seismic cannon, which is damage 2. So that'll be 2 more of the intercessors taken away. They'll bring them down to only 2 remaining. And that's the Neophyte's shot. So now we'll go on to the Ridge Runners. Now the Ridge Runners are going to slip fire. Their heavy stubbers are going to go into the infiltrators, while the 3 heavy mining lasers are all going to go into the Impulsor. We'll start with the mining lasers, number of shots. So that's 1, 6 shots from the mining lasers. On 3s from crossfire marker. Would might have had mass firearms on then, that'd be 3 automatic wounds. And then, speaking of 3s, that's 4 going right through at -3, goes to -2, so 5 up saves. So that will be 2 success, 2 failed. That's going to be 2d6 for the wounds, or 2d6, yeah, damage, yeah. And no CP to reroll, so a 5, not great, but at least 5 less wounds left on that impulsor. And now all the stubbers into the infiltrators. Heavy stubbers. 2 or 4s to wound. That'll be 3, no AP, so 3s. Does take another one of them off of the objective. Charges went ahead and went through after the shooting phase. The Acolytes are in with the ATV, and the Patriarch is in and under with the Eradicators. We still have the ongoing combat of the Blade Guard versus the Aberrants. So we will go right into the fight with the Patriarch now. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, 6 attacks. Re-rolling from Amulet of, or from Paranatural Swiftness. And then Strength 5, Toughness 5, I believe, for being in Gravis armor with Eradicators. A 1 and a 2 will definitely still be fails. So that'll be 5 at AP -3, and then 1 at AP -6. So with an AP of -6 going down to 5, they'll still take one of them off the field. And then the remaining one has a AP of -2 against him, so 5s to save. And that'll be a total of 8 damage. So the Eradicators are eradicated, and that is our hostile objective storm. Into the ATV, we're going to start with the Heavy Rock Drill. This is going to be 2 attacks on 3s. There'll be 2 hits, and with the Rock Drill, every time a hit is scored, that attack automatically wounds. And if they were 6s, doesn't matter. So that's going to be 2 automatic wounds at AP -4. Goes down to -3, so the ATV needs 6s. Does make 1, but fails 1. That's going to take it down to 2. Now the Heavy Rock Cutter on 4s, since it's a -1 weapon, did make a difference there. And Strength 8, so 3s. No luck there. And we will do the rest of the attacks off camera with the rest of the squad. They got 1 more wound off of the ATV, so he's still at least going to be able to run their toes over with his treads when he fights back. But now we're going to go on to the ongoing combat, and the Blade Guard are going to go next, trying to cut down hopefully at least 1 more Aberrant before they can swing in again. Needing 3s, then 4s. For a total of 2 at -3 AP, so it goes right through. Takes it down to 1 damage, so 5 up to ignore the damages. Takes both of them, so 1 Aberrant will take 2 wounds. Then we will slap back next with the Aberrants. 6 attacks with the 3 remaining Aberrants. All hitting. And Strength 8 will be on 2s. All go through at an AP of -2, so AP -1. So 4 up invuln from the Storm Shield. Make 3, fail 3. Each of those is 3 damage a time. We do still have 1 CP, so our last CP from the Ultramarines will be to reroll that. Makes it again. but that will still be the squad. Now that I think about it, I don't know why I would have done that, because I would have needed to make 2 in order to have the squad still be alive. So let's rewind time. Let's say I didn't re-roll that last one. It still would have been the squad wiped either way. The ATV actually was able to pick up one of the acolytes from his attacks in melee. That's going to be it for turn 3 for the cult. So it's another turn of clean sweeping the objectives. That's going to bring them down or up to a total of 55 points for the Gene Stealer cult, to a total of 30 as we go into turn 3 for the Ultramarines. Turn 3 with the Ultramarines, we did get the big 15 on primary for controlling 3 objective markers and more. However, the secondaries were not looking great, so we need to hold the line, kill in melee, and extend battle lines. We already spent our last CP to get rid of Area Denial and traded it for Blood and Guts, so not looking particularly great for the Ultramarines. But we will have to see what they can do. So we will come back as we go through movement and into shooting. Looks like it's going to come down to a game of inches. So the intercessors have moved forward here to shoot at the newly exposed acolytes as the ATV moves back towards the home objective. Infiltrators stood still. Intercessors around here are moving to try to get rid of the Jackal Alphys, while the Impulsor rather, is finally lining up shots on the neophytes that have been unbothered in the back building for the entirety of the game. So that does it for movement. We'll go right on to shooting, with starting at these 4 intercessors, taking everything they've got into the acolytes here on 3s. And on 4s for a whopping 1 at -2 AP. So that will be at least one of them taken out, but that will unfortunately not be a ton. We'll go quickly into the 2 remaining intercessors here, into the Jackal Alphys on 3s, and on, I believe, she is a toughness 3 character. Nope, she's toughness 4. That's only 1 at -2. So 6 up armor save from her base of 4 is going to take 1 wound off of her, bringing her down to 3. Now, how about the infiltrators going into the aberrant? See if we can't try to remove one of the threats off the board as we go. 6 automatically goes through to wound. And that's looking like it's going to be the only wound that we get through, as their guns are strength 4, they're T5. So only 1 at -1. So a 6 up armor and a 5 up feel no pain will make it. So that's gonna just about do it for all of the infantry. Now we have the ATV and Impulsor. We'll start with the Impulsor firing Max Blast into the neophytes. 6 wounds is still on top bracket for the Impulsor, so still only needing 3s. Ooh, that's good shooting. And then strength 4 into toughness 3 neophytes, so on 3s. Gets it with a total of 3, 6, 9. AP -1 as we're still in tactical. It's going to undo the benefit of light cover that they're in the building for, so back up to their 5s. So killing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the neophytes out of this building. Off camera, the ATV was actually able to take out the Calormorph, That's at least one less character on the board for the cult. Now going into charges, these intercessors are going to see if they can try to wipe out some more of the acolytes. With an 8, they will definitely do it. Then the 2 intercessors over there into the sniper character with ease, and that'll do it for the charges. So we can actually do this one real quick with the 2 intercessors on 3s. And she's toughness 3, so 3s again. Alright, that's a total of 4 at a 5-up save for 2 pass, 2 fail. That brings her down to 1. And then a total of 4 intercessors on the attack here for 3s to hit. Ooh, not a great spread of hits for these guys, so only 5 hits. Wounding on 4s. Only 2 wounds, no AP, so 5-up saves. Make 1, fail 1. We will lose the leader, and then now it will be the cultists' turn to strike back. Acolytes over here were able to take out 2 of the intercessors, while the Jackal Alphys did nothing in return to the 2 intercessors that are tying her up in combat. With that, we have gone through, we've discarded all 3 of the secondary cards for the Ultramarines, so we're going to be staying on 45, and now we just have morale on the neophytes in the building here. They lost 6. 6 plus 6 is definitely going to be a fail. So that's going to be 1 more running away, and then on 13 dice for the remainers, 1s will flee. 13 1s to flee, so a total of 1, 2, 3 more will flee, so 4 more are gone. Cult turn 4, and it looks like the secondaries have picked a side at this point. We've got Investigate Site and Area Denial that both just need these 2 intercessors and maybe this impulsor to be gone, but we will definitely have the tools to get rid of them, as well as Blood and Guts, which we should be able to do eventually. Maybe not this turn, but that's definitely possible. And we're up to 65-45 in favor of the cult. So we will go through the movement phase and see what we can get achieved in turn 4. The cult's moved out. The Patriarch is moving right along here, scooching a little bit closer to the ATV to smite him off the board, while the Jackal Alphys has fallen back as well, or well, not fallen back, but moved back, have the Ridge Runners to try to get the 2 units needed off for the center of the battlefield objectives. And we summoned 3 more of the neophytes back to this squad. That's it for our command phase and movement phase. So I'll just do a quick smite from the Patriarch. On a 4, that's not going to do it. So we'll use our 1 CP to reroll that into a 7. That'll take the ATV off the board. Does he leave with a bang? He does not. So Patriarch got off scot-free on that one, other than having to spend our CP. And now we will go on to the shooting phase for the cult. The aberrants up there are the ones doing the action for Investigate Site. And then we'll start with the Ridge Runners. The Stubbers are going to go into the 2 Intercessors, and the the Mining Lasers are going to go into the Impulsor. So we will do the number of shots for the lasers. So 3, 5, 6 shots into there on 4s. 4 hits. 3 is to wound. Ooh, only the 1 wound. So a 5-up save does not make it. So d6 damage will be the big 6 for the mining laser. So that'll take the impulsor out. Does it blow? It does not with a 3. That'll be the impulsor gone. And now to see if we can similarly remove the intercessors. Into the intercessors on 4s. And then on 4s. Only looks like 2 wounds. That will do 2 saves. 1 goes through, getting them down to 1 full 1 on 1 wound. And then we will go to the neophytes over here. So we will be firing into the remaining intercessors. We'll start off with the mining laser. Will be a hit, and on a 2 and AP -2 will be a 5-up save. Does not make it, so that kills the guy on 1 wound. And then we'll do the shortwave seismic cannon next on 4s. Then on a 3 to wound. So 1 at AP -1 will not do it, and that is the squad wiped from the center of the field. And with that, I think we can call it a victory for the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor, as getting those 2 units off the field has gotten the middle cleared out, so that's 10 points, bringing the cult up to 75. In the fight phase, the Patriarch and these 2 acolytes are sure to hopefully at least take care of those 2. Then with that, that'll just leave it for those 3 infiltrators on that 1 objective, which could pretty easily be taken out by the shots from the Ridge Runners. So with that, this section of the Imperial world has been claimed by the Cult of the Truly Four-Armed Emperor. Hope everybody enjoyed that battle report. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, check out the description of the video for ways to support the channel, and I will see all of you folks on the next battlefield of the 41st millennium.